Chris Santiago coming soon. To hopefully at some point, and we have another member, another person who used to live in Brett. Past few years should be coming around 8-ish, and hopefully by that time we'll be wrapping up and going into a more personal, like one-on-one. If you want to ask us like questions that you don't want to ask in front of everyone. I don't know if it'll last an hour, but people sometimes aren't too comfortable asking questions about fraternities or sororities. They think it's like kind of it shouldn't be spoken in public, but I don't know. You guys can ask us anything. We're kind of just gonna go through like all the reasons why Greek life is beneficial. We're gonna touch on the negatives of Greek life because I know that there's a lot of stereotypes and stigmas associated with fraternities and sororities, so we're gonna cover those too. And any point, feel free to ask a question. If you think something we're saying is you don't agree with it, or you've heard a different opinion on it, feel free, and like we can kind of go from there and see how it goes. So we'll just jump right into it. How many of you? Well, Rush started on Thursday, and Rush is the process of joining a fraternity or sorority. It's like meet the brothers. You get to meet brothers or sisters of a fraternity, sorority, co-ed fraternity, professional fraternity, and in so doing, you can see which fraternities you like, and on the other side, the brothers or the sisters of that fraternity or sorority can then see which potential members they like. And then there's a process for giving out invitations to go through the new member process. So Rush started Thursday. How many of you have gone to any Rush events? Anyone? All right, we got a couple. One. But luckily, Rush is lasting another 2 weeks. The invitations to join, known as bids, aren't being given out until February 9th, so you still have a lot of time. And obviously, we highly encourage you to do fraternities or sororities or Greek life. I joined actually last spring, and Liz joined last fall. And it's been awesome. But ever since, like one thing that I've seen that Greek life allows you to do, I mean, the one thing I would say over anything is that Greek life is the first door to a whole nother world. It really just gives you so many opportunities, and like a lot of people write it off. They're like, oh, it's all partying, it's all drinking and having fun. But it really just, if you really put into it what you want, it's the same way as like a crappy internship, you know, at a really cool business. I don't know. It's not crappy, but I don't know.
Don't join Greek life, it's crappy.
Thanks, Camille. Those
Vice President of the
don't
Fraternity
clap.
Council.
No, but there's people, to be completely honest, who go for fraternities and sororities, and they do live up to those stereotypes. And it really shouldn't be like that. To be completely honest, it does happen. People go and they do it just to drink and have fun, but that's not the purpose of them. When fraternities they started in 1776, that wasn't the reason they were made. They were actually made. They were created. Okay. So they were originally started. What? Okay. Okay. She's coming in for another slap. Please don't. Please. She gets really violent, so it's getting obviously too easy for her. But so originally, actually, Greek life started as a way of being kind of like a secret society for people that couldn't necessarily express like certain views, like political views. Like you heard of secret poetry societies. That was all kind of wrapped up in Greek life. And then it started to evolve. Now it's a lot of leadership, a lot of community service. What I would say is that every Greek organization is a self-governing organization in itself. So my fraternity, her fraternity, they can do, essentially, they can govern themselves the way they want. The president, the vice president can rewrite the bylaws with the consent of the rest of the fraternity or sorority and pave the way for like a new era. It really opens up a lot of doors in terms of leadership. You have positions like new member educator where if you can spin it a lot of times I've seen people write on their resumes that they led members through like an 8-week process, like 20 members, and you're really like spending time with them. So it shows to employers that you have the ability to lead a team, which which is interesting. There's risk managers for a lot of fraternities. Sororities have safety and wellness chairs usually. Risk managers, I've seen a lot of people who do that tend to be in law enforcement. They like to manage problems that might arise. There's people who are really into community service, and obviously, I'm sure all of you have heard of Dance Marathon. I'm sure. I mean, raise your hand if you're dancing. Like, yeah, we got a couple at Fred team, right? Yeah. So, out of last year, I think Greek Life raised around 80% of the total, the $622,000 that DM raised. And on top of that, I mean, you have a lot of other philanthropy events, a lot of opportunities to do community service. It all looks good, great on a resume. Go ahead.
You kind of jumped into, yeah, there's a huge aspect of community service, but do you have a question?
Can you just tell me, like, sorry,
Yeah.
introduce what fraternities you're in? You
Oh.
said you were in them, you never said.
That's a
Okay.
good point. I'm in co-ed fraternity called Phi Delta Epsilon. We're the only pre-med fraternity on campus.
And I'm in a social fraternity, Sigma Chi, on campus. And we can get into like specifics about our own fraternities towards the end, yeah. But now we want to keep it kind of general. Yeah, but we're going to do that.
So yeah, there's a large part of free service in like every fraternity. Most of them actually require certain like or new member pledging or like actual members. They require service hours that you have to complete at the end of each semester.
Yeah.
So like they get you involved a lot in like special projects or like organizations that do community service.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool because like another big aspect of it, which you've heard, and sometimes it sounds tacky, sometimes it's really not, is the brotherhood or sisterhood or friendship for co-eds that you get from spending so much time with these people. I mean, everyone's new member process is intense. It's always a time management scenario situation where it opens a lot of doors, and I mean, you're spending, usually it's around 8 weeks at Rutgers, just with a group of people, and you're doing everything with them. You get to do service with them. I remember I went canning with my pledge brothers back in the day, but it really, like, the brotherhood and sisterhood is great. Have fun at dinner. Thank you. Yeah, so the brotherhood and sisterhood is true. Question?
Oh, okay. So it's after the point where you get a bid, like it's accepted you.
I've heard it's called pledging, is that?
It's the
Pledging,
same-
yeah, that's the
The
colloquial
order
term for
process
it.
is the same as pledging. So you rush for like a week or two, and then if they really like you, they'll give you a bid. Most of the fraternities and sororities are like really competitive, so they only let like 15 or so. Like
It depends. Like a lot of the bigger fraternities, social fraternities, like Sigma Chi, you've heard like Beta Delta Chi, Beta Chi will extend bids to usually around like 20, 25 guys. They like to stay larger. It's just a personal taste, I guess. Some of them stay small and extend invitations to join to like 10 people. So
well,
it really
yeah.
depends on.
After you get the bid, you basically like do a bunch of stuff in order to be officially part of the fraternity sorority. Like there's
Let's
a lot.
hear this. Let's hear. Do you want to?
Mine was we had to plan a social event, we had to do a service project, and we also had to do a fundraiser. So those were our three things. We didn't have like any hazing or anything. But yeah, we had to do like projects basically.
Right. And if you do end up going to a rush event, definitely ask how their pledging process, the new member process was. Call them out. If they can't answer it, don't join. Because I mean, I would be a fool to say that hazing doesn't happen at Rutgers. It does. It's not nearly as bad as a lot of other big schools, but not every fraternity and sorority on campus hazes. Some of them will have like a 2 or 3 week new member process, pledging process. Some of them go 12 weeks and completely disregard the rules set by the Office of Fraternity and Sorority Affairs. So when you go to events, if you do go, definitely grill them with questions like that, and see if they're trying to avoid your questions or not.
Not like anybody on the keyboard though, that's just like not,
Yeah.
that's not good practice.
Yeah, I mean,
Like-
I guess as brothers, I mean, I asked when, like, a lot of fraternities and sororities will do, or Greek organizations will have like an informational event. I know we do one where we have rooms on different aspects of the fraternity, right? You don't do like
Ours
a community
is like
service.
our first event is a huge info session, and it's like just they have like a slideshow.
Oh, okay.
Very professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of similar. We just split ours up by like different aspects instead of doing like one big thing. But like we have a room that talks about pledging, and we let people ask us questions. Usually pretty open about it, unless people start getting really accusatory and start like accusing us of things that we didn't do. Then usually obviously doesn't go too well, but rarely ever happens. But a lot of things that you should expect from new member process. Usually it requires a lot of philanthropy. They want to see, I mean, as a member of a Greek organization, they expect you to do some community service, but if you come in not doing any, then they're not going to expect you to do any when you're a brother. And fraternities and sororities have the option of removing you from pledging, not letting you become a brother if they decide that you're not living up to what a good brother would be. So usually you have to do a lot of community service. We had to do a lot of fundraising. So I was canning. Does anyone not know what canning is? Or I mean, I'll just explain it anyways. It's usually for Dance Marathon, and we did ours for Dance Marathon. But you go to like the corner of George Street and Albany Street, anything like that, and you just stand there with the can and ask people to donate to the Dance Marathon. And so we had to raise $1,500 as a pledge class for that. Things like that. And it does get to be a lot. You also learn about the traditions, the values of the organization,
You
the
get to
history.
meet like all the brothers, like actually
Yeah.
a lot of them require like signatures from brothers that you can meet everyone. And that's like a good thing. Even though it's required, like you get to bond with them somewhere, you get to know more about everybody in the frat, like it's really good.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard people say that they don't like the fact that they make you run all over campus to meet different brothers, but why would you join an organization or finish it if you didn't know all 100 brothers in the fraternity or sorority? So yeah, that's something else you do. I think what else? The meetings are usually pretty common. Just to make sure that you're learning stuff. I think almost every Greek organization that I can think of usually has quizzes just to see like, have you learned everything? Yeah, everyone does it, but yeah, because if you just go to the meetings and sleep the whole time, obviously they're not going to want you to be part of it. So it's usually the whole point of like the whole process of joining is the reciprocal thing. Do you care? Do brothers want you to join? Are you going to put in effort? Are they going to want to put in effort with you and be with you while you are a brother? So let's keep going down the list. She mentioned networking. So first of all, you get to meet, the moment you join, you meet however many brothers, sisters that are in that Greek organization. On top of that, you join an even bigger organization, which is called Greek Life at Rutgers, which right now houses, I would say around 3,200 individuals at Rutgers, so about 10% of Rutgers is Greek. Automatically through that, I mean, I've been canning and just people come up to me, oh, what organization are you in, what fraternity you're in, and you just start talking from there. It's actually pretty surprising how far that goes. On top of that, there's a couple organizations at Rutgers that are bigger than Rutgers. So I know, for example, Tau Kappa Epsilon T, you've probably seen their flyers that goes around red. Sigma Chi, those are two organizations that are bigger than Rutgers. So Rutgers has 280,000 alumni. TEAC's at 290,000 active brothers across the country. Sigma Chi's at 320,000. So a lot of these, when you join, you're getting this whole network. I don't know if you guys do this, but there's usually like Facebook groups for networking events across the country. So like I've heard of events that happen in like Canada, and you go to a hotel and you just meet brothers for the weekend and just mingle, network for the weekend. It's pretty cool actually. And one of the merits of Rush, which I think it's undervalued, that so like the whole point of Rush, you just go, you meet the brothers and talk, but it's really like a mini interview process. It's like Thursday is the mega career and internship fair. If you go to Rush, like it's almost the same thing. You're just showing what you have to offer. They're telling you about what their organization, their company has to offer. It's like a two-way street, and I really got into the whole networking and social skills building through Rush and through the Brotherhood.
Yeah, like the Brotherhood also gives you like a better connection with like a lot of people. So if you know like an alumni like from the fraternity, then you have a better connection with them or a better shot at getting a job because of that connection.
Yeah.
Like that helps a lot.
Yeah, I actually got a connection found out about this internship for the summer at Department of Homeland Security. I found out about it the first time by posting in our career referrals page, Facebook group, and asking like if anyone had any leads, if anyone could help me out, and I got sent to Department of Homeland Security. So yeah, it really does, like the networking is definitely real. So yeah, I guess this one we could open it up to questions.
I didn't see that. I see it.
Yeah, anyone have any questions? Want to hit us with something hard or
Hi,
interesting?
what are like the pros and cons of like, say, like sex, fraternity or sorority versus like co-ed?
Well, most of the co-ed ones are like too professional. Are there any social
Similar. No, they're friends. I think co-ed tend to be
You're professional, so like if you like have a specific goal in mind, like I knew I wanted to be a doctor, so like I wanted to join this group of people that like all know that they're gonna do anything that can help me out, and yeah, it's like,
So like some different types of like co-ed fraternities that you would see out there. Pre-med obviously. There's one specifically if you're in the pharmacy school, one specifically for engineers.
business,
Business has one. There's like
agriculture.
there's agriculture, yeah. There's an honors one. Chris Santiago is actually the president of the honors fraternity. Yeah, Phi Sigma Pi. So if you wanted to talk to him about that, I don't really know what how the honors fraternity operates. I know that they are co-ed also. All the social ones at Rutgers though, I'm with 99% certainty can say that they're either all men's or all women's. So.
Oh, yeah. And as like to the pros and cons, like if you want like a network of everybody who's like going the same way as you, then that's like pretty professional. But if you want like just a silhouette of like diverse like interests and like people and everything like that, go for the silhouette, like that's more like bonding than just relating, I guess.
Any other questions you want to throw out there? What's up, Walter?
If you get rejected once, is it worth trying to rush again?
Actually,
That's a good
yes,
question.
I can answer that question. So one of my brothers that I pledged with got rejected the first time,
Okay.
and he came back the second time when he got in. Also, even if you got rejected the first time, you can make friends with the people who get in that semester, and then they're vying for you to get in too.
Right. Yeah. I've seen both sides of the argument. I know guys in my fraternity that have rushed 2 semesters and gotten in the second semester. I've seen, as a brother, I've already seen kids that rushed when I rushed, came back in the fall, and now they're back in the spring, and they didn't get bids 2 years in a row, invitations to join 2 semesters in a row, and they're coming back. And usually, it depends. Like it could go both ways. I guess I would say if you do get accepted, it means like the second time around, it means that they are really interested in you, or they like the fact that you have the commitment to come out again. If you don't get it 2 or 3 semesters in a row, it just meant that they didn't feel that you fit into like that specific organization. Because a lot of them do have different values. You can say that without a doubt. There are not stereotypes, but definitely different personalities. Like you could have like a Chi side that's really, really into philanthropy, Theta Chi who's really into academics, that kind of situation. So, yeah. You have a question, Lee?
Yeah, where's the,
We don't know. We actually have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
then, question is, about honors.
yeah, I don't know if I can answer that. What's the question?
I don't know whether,
I would assume that they're more focused on the academics, right? Being honest program, join. I can go off it though. Once you are in a fraternity or sorority, no matter which one, there's on top of that more honor societies that you can join. So there's something called like Order of Omega. You have to have like a 3.7 GPA cumulative to join something like that. They do a lot of interfraternity council and panhellenic councils, the governing councils for men and women's sororities. They will host like a scholarship dinner where they will invite everyone with like a 3.5 GPA from the previous semester to it. Just like a free nice dinner. So there's a lot of cool. Gamma Sigma Alpha is another honor society, but that one's more focused on your community involvement. If you're active on campus. So there's a lot. I mean, those are just more doorways and more hallways that you could walk down once you get your foot in the first time. So yeah. would say socials, the average for a men's fraternity is probably $400 or $500. And this is also something, feel free to ask men's fraternity when you go to their rush event. They don't tell you, don't join, because they might just pin a really high number on you. The highest men's fraternity is $850 for a semester, which is a lot. Sororities tend to be a lot also, but they usually throw meal plans in there, and their houses are a lot nicer, so usually it's a lot more expensive to maintain a house, like, you know, those mansions that they do have. So sororities tend to run from $800 to, I think the most expensive right now is $2,100 a semester. But with that, they get food usually, and they maintain the nicest houses on campus.
Yeah, mine was nowhere near that, so.
Yeah, mine was not near that either, so. But, yeah, no, the money definitely is an issue, but if you do go to a rush event, any information, or if you see a brother, I mean, you can ask.
If you like actually get a bid and you say that you can't provide the money, they usually don't have a problem like helping you out.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's not usually an issue like that.
There's usually payment plans. On top of that, a lot of fraternities, because you pay so much in dues, a lot of the dues go to the national organization, and then it kind of trickles back down. So I know a lot of fraternities, at least on campus, men's fraternities do scholarships. Usually you have to apply, you can only apply like certain years, but that could be anywhere from like $500 to $1,000, and it's just, you compete against other people in your fraternity for the scholarship, so.
When you end up paying the money,
Dues?
at the fund process?
And, when you get in the.
I mean, it depends.
I paid mine like during the beginning.
I
Like,
paid
right
at the
after I got
beginning.
in. Yeah, I think like,
Yeah.
yeah, right after you get your bid, I think you have to.
So we did like the payment plan thing. So I paid it immediately because I didn't have a problem paying. But there were kids in my pledge class that had trouble paying and they didn't pay until the end. They paid on the payment plan, so it was like $100 every 2 or 3 weeks until they were done pledging. So yeah, but if you do find that you have, once you become a member, if you find that you have trouble paying still, like maybe dues go up or something, inflation happens, any of that awful stuff. I don't know. Economics people, I don't speak economics, but you can also, you have the option of going inactive, which means you just wouldn't be able, you can still be a brother technically or a sister, you just wouldn't be allowed to participate in their activities, which is also kind of stuff. Yeah. That's it. That's,
Any other question?
yeah. If you guys wanna also, like, feel free to come to us after. I mean, I'm in Sigma Chi.
Fine with that.
Yeah, and some of the other people in Brad, I posted in the Facebook group, I think, but so Chris Santiago is in Phi Sigma Pi, which is the co-ed honors. Ariella Dude is in Pi Psi, which is a men's social fraternity, and Will Callahan is in Delta Sigma Pi, which is a co-ed business fraternity, a pre-professional business fraternity. I think is the actual term. And if you guys need help, if you want to, if you like heard of someone's name, like you saw a T poster and want to contact them, you can know their contact info on the poster. Feel free to message me. I'm on the governing council for all men's fraternities, so I can give you the contact info of people in that specific